Okay. And then, all right. So talk to us about this latest book then.
Okay,
How
so
to win the job you want when you just lost the job you need coming
right.
back. Yeah. Talk to me about it. Go for it.
So there are two kinds of comebacks. One when you've lost your job, and one when you're on a downward slide. Many people don't even know that careers sputter out if you're not constantly adding to your skills base, because your skills are dying. Companies are looking for ways that machines can do what you're doing. If you're not ahead of the trends in your industry, you're on your way out. You can't hunker down, keep your head low, right? People think they can, that they'll make it to the finish line. They won't. So that you have to constantly be ahead of it. If you have the highest salary in the room, which veteran employees tend to, then you had better be able to deliver a heck of a lot more than somebody who's a fresh graduate who is right up on the latest technology. Because if you can't, you're going to be unemployed. So if you are employed and you are rusty on skills, you go to these places in my book I talk about where you can get the skills you need. It's not going to kill you. It's not that hard, but you have got to not only get current, you have to be ready for the next 5 years, because they don't care if you're the best person for the job today. It's 5 years from now. And then if you're unemployed, which I look at that very hard, you have to find a different way of marketing yourself when you're out there, especially if you're over 40, or if you've had an extended time out, say you had a baby and stayed home for a couple of years, or did extensive travel, or took care of a relative. Well, finding your way back in means that you market yourself in a very different way, because you've got to beat the algorithm that weeds you out. So that's some real tough networking. And the whole book is pretty much tough love. It's inspiring, it's motivational, but it's like, okay, get with it now. You can't get by denying that you're going to have to learn all of this social media. And then, we delude ourselves. Yeah, I'm tech savvy. Well, if you're not as tech savvy as a 23-year-old, you've got some work to do, because if you're making more, unless you have really great leadership skills and you're in a company that rewards and respects that, you're going to have a problem. You've got to learn this stuff.
And by the way, if you're in your 50s and you had like some big accomplishments in like 1994, nobody cares.
Oh, I have a whole chapter called The Death of Experience. Nobody wants to hear you bragging that you've done something 100 times, or that you've been there, done that. The best quote in the book is from this guy, Zach Friedman, and he is an innovator for Nationwide. And he says, if you have 20 years of irrelevant experience, or 30 years, and you're up against somebody who has 2 years, a millennial who has 2 years of relevant experience, the millennial is the expert. And that's truth. If you are not relevant for right now and in the next 5 years,
that's right.
They don't care. They're not loyal to you because you did something before. They're not going to bow down because you know a lot about what was. The world changed. It got less friendly in that regards. And so it's on us. Now, the good thing is there are so many learning resources that help us so that we can get the information we need to know. And blockchain, that's a great example, because I had such trouble learning about how that one bit of data travels, and it's the basis of Bitcoin, but it's used in supply chain. And I kept trying to read up what it was, and I didn't understand it. I tried so many ways to learn it, didn't get it. And then I saw a YouTube video on how to teach blockchain to a 6-year-old. And then watched it and I was like, oh, I get it. So then I could do the next thing. And you don't have to always be an expert in everything, but you need to know what these things are.
Totally agree. Totally agree. One of the things as a recruiting firm here at Riderflex, one of the things that is so disappointing and frustrating for me as the CEO of the company is when I visit with a 50-plus-year-old executive of some kind, like they were a VP or whatever, and the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, they haven't done anything to network. They haven't worked on their LinkedIn profile. They don't go to any networking events. They haven't learned anything new. They haven't added any experiences onto their profile. And they just think they can sit back and rest on what they did when they were 38 years old. And that just is going to guarantee them a job. And I see it all the time. They'll email me and they'll say, oh my gosh, I just lost my job. I'm 54. And can you please help me? Meanwhile, they have like 38 connections on LinkedIn and they haven't been active in 8 years and they've done nothing for networking over the last, 10 years or so. And I just think to myself, you did this to yourself. You
Right.
you have to work on your profile and marketing and networking and learning and gaining new experiences all the time. Like you have to work on it all the time.
But if you didn't do it, you can get caught up.
You
That's the
can get
bigger
caught up.
thing. It's like you absolutely can. And the first step is, of course, buying my book, coming back. But no, you can get caught up. You just have to make up your mind and then give yourself a few months of very intensive study and then just constantly add a little
Yes.
something and add a little something.
If you think today's tip or guest interview can help someone you know, please share this with them. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. The Riderflex Podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviewing. You can visit riderflex.com to learn more about us and get information and pricing on the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Thanks so much for listening and have a great day.